WWE shocking update. Drew's return in danger? Roman's secret revealed? Rhea is really gone? WWE chaos explained. Can Drew McIntyre's WWE return really be in serious danger, or is WWE secretly preparing a surprise that nobody is expecting? And why does every new Roman Reigns situation seem to come with another mystery that leaves fans questioning everything? WWE fans, something strange is happening right now, and the more you look at it, the more questions begin to appear. We are talking about some of the biggest names in the company, names that have carried entire eras, and suddenly their futures, their stories, and their next moves have all become uncertain. When multiple major superstars are surrounded by confusion at the same time, you already know the wrestling world is going to start investigating every little detail. Because in WWE, sometimes the silence tells the biggest story. A superstar disappearing from television might seem normal to some fans, but longtime wrestling fans know that every little detail can mean something. A missing appearance, a changed storyline, a different backstage report, or even a small reaction from another wrestler can create 1,000 theories overnight. And right now, Drew McIntyre is one of the biggest names at the center of that discussion. Drew's journey has always felt different. This is a guy who was once seen as someone with potential, someone who had all the tools but needed to find his way. He left WWE, rebuilt himself, returned stronger, and eventually became one of the company's top stars. His story was never just about winning matches. It was about proving everyone wrong. That is why fans respect him so much. Drew wasn't simply given his position. He fought his way back to the top. He became a world champion, a main event player, and someone who looked like he could carry WWE into the future. So when fans start hearing questions about his return, his direction, or his place in WWE's plans, people immediately start paying attention. Because this isn't some random superstar we are talking about. This is Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Warrior. A man who has stood across from some of the biggest names in wrestling and has been involved in some of the most important moments of the modern era. So why does it suddenly feel like there is uncertainty around him? That is the question everyone is asking. Before we get deeper into this story, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoy these WWE breakdowns, because it helps the channel reach more wrestling fans. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join the community because there is always another WWE mystery waiting around the corner. Now, when we talk about Drew's situation, there are a few different possibilities. The first possibility is that WWE is simply protecting him for something much bigger. And honestly, this would not be the first time. Sometimes WWE removes a superstar from the spotlight because they want the comeback to feel important. They want fans to miss that person. They want the reaction when the music hits to feel like a real moment. Wrestling has always been about moments. The entrance, the crowd reaction, the surprise, the emotion. Sometimes the best way to make someone feel bigger is to let their absence create anticipation. But the second possibility is the one making fans nervous. Maybe plans changed. And WWE fans know how quickly plans can change. A storyline can be building for months, then suddenly everything moves in another direction. Someone gets injured. Creative ideas change. Another superstar becomes the focus. And before you know it, the entire roadmap looks different. That is why Drew's situation has become such a big conversation. Fans are wondering whether he is being held back for a major return or whether WWE is rethinking his next chapter completely. Because when someone like Drew is missing, people notice. But while Drew's future is one major question, another huge name has also created a lot of discussion. Rhea Ripley. Rhea has become one of WWE's most dominant and recognizable stars. Her rise has been incredible to watch. She went from being a talented young wrestler with a lot of potential to someone who completely changed how fans viewed the women's division. She had confidence, intensity, and a character that felt impossible to ignore. Whether fans loved her or wanted to see someone finally defeat her, everyone was watching. And that is what makes a superstar important. When people are talking about you, you matter. So when someone like Rhea suddenly disappears from the spotlight, fans immediately start asking questions. What happened? Why is she gone? Is this leading to something bigger? Is WWE saving a huge moment? And honestly, this is where wrestling fans become detectives. We start connecting dots that may or may not even be connected. Someone changes their entrance. Someone posts something online. Someone appears backstage for 5 seconds. Suddenly there is a full theory explaining how a major return is coming. Sometimes those theories are completely wrong, and sometimes they somehow predict exactly what happens. That is the strange beauty of WWE. Nothing feels impossible. And then we have Roman Reigns, the name that always seems to create the biggest conversation. Roman's entire WWE run has been built around dominance. He became the tribal chief, the leader, the man who controlled the environment around him. His character was designed around power. Everyone else was chasing him while he stood at the top. That is why any questions surrounding Roman become a huge deal. Because his entire identity is based on being untouchable. So if fans start noticing cracks, even small ones, they immediately become important. The recent conversations about Roman's title history and certain championship situations have made fans debate what is real, what is storyline, and what WWE wants everyone to believe. And that is where wrestling becomes interesting. The best wrestling stories make you question things. They blur the line between reality and entertainment. They make you wonder if something is just part of the show or if there is a deeper meaning behind it. Roman has spent years building an empire. But every great character eventually faces a moment where that control gets challenged. Every dominant champion. Every unstoppable villain. Every superstar who seems impossible to defeat. Eventually, someone or something creates a problem. Maybe that is what WWE is building toward. Maybe these questions are not random. Maybe the company is slowly preparing the next major shift. Or maybe fans are simply doing what fans do and looking for clues everywhere. But let's be honest, that is part of the fun. Because imagine what happens if these stories all connect. Imagine Drew returning at the perfect moment. Imagine Rhea coming back with a new purpose. Imagine Roman being forced into a situation where he cannot control everything. That is the type of chaos that creates unforgettable wrestling moments. WWE has always been unpredictable. A superstar can disappear today and become the biggest story tomorrow. A rivalry nobody expected can suddenly become the main event. A character can completely change after one shocking moment. That is why fans continue watching even when they complain. Because deep down, everyone knows there is always a chance something crazy happens. Think about all the times fans thought someone was finished, only for that wrestler to return and have the biggest moment of their career. That is the magic of wrestling. It is built on comebacks, surprises, and stories that keep evolving. So now the biggest questions remain. Is Drew McIntyre's return actually in danger? Is Rhea Ripley's absence a sign that something major is coming? And is Roman Reigns still completely in control, or are we starting to see the beginning of a new WWE era? I want to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments. Do you believe WWE is planning something huge, or are fans reading too much into everything? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another WWE update. Because with wrestling, the biggest surprises usually happen when nobody sees them coming. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate you being here, and I'll